Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Ask Me Anything. The topic for this month is one of my favorites: how to ask for what you want and get it. It's easy to know what we want. It's harder to get it. Or is it? Yes, getting a new job or a raise or a promotion can be difficult, but getting what you want can be more black and white than you think. The number one way to get what you want is to ask for it. Before I share the 5 ways to become a better asker, let me cover a couple of truths. Be prepared for what you want. Be prepared for what you want to be fulfilled. This is a truth that some people don't come to terms with. Be prepared for what you want to be fulfilled. It's easy to wish for something, but if you're truly ready for it to be bestowed upon you, what's the answer? You really better be if you want it. Be prepared for what you want to be fulfilled. You may have spent years or days or months dreaming about the prestige. I love this one that comes with that, an executive position or a new client at a high level. And then you get caught stammering when it's time to ask for the reins or when it's time to ask for what you want. That doesn't really show executive level expertise, does it? Being prepared for it, knowing how to ask for what you want, is just like anything else. I'm going to talk you through a couple of the pieces and then 5 ways to become a better asker. First one, how to know what you want. This one is one of my favorites. We all know what we don't want. I hate this. I don't like it when they X. And if you have to do this, I'm not doing it. We all have that list of what we want, what we don't like. But making a list of what you want can have 3 possible outcomes. They say yes, they say no, they say maybe. Maybe can be something else. Think about what you want from the perspective of who you will be asking. It's critical. Are they the exact person who can give you what you want? If they aren't, you're asking the wrong person. So the first piece is to go directly to the person who can give you what you want. That's number 1. Number 2, what if you don't know what you want? This part is fun. Make a list of what you don't want. Like I said, we can all make this list. I don't want to pay too much. I don't want to have them tell me to wait a year. I don't want on and on. Make a list of what you don't want on one side of the paper. And then right next to this list, write the exact item of the exact opposite of each item. Poof, now you have a list on the other side of what you do want. So make a list of what you don't want, if that's easier. Write the opposite of each item, and now you have a list of what you want. Here's how to become a better asker, those 5 tips I've mentioned now. The first one, get clear about what you want. You can't express what you want effectively if you're not clear about what it is. So before approaching your
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Okay, Siri. That's fun. Did you hear her? Gotta love a video when Siri jumps in, right? Whatever I said, let's ignore it and be the human being in this and go back to what we were talking about so that Siri doesn't respond. Get clear about what you want. You can't express what you want effectively if you're not clear about what it is. So before approaching your partner, a client, your boss for a raise, your child with a request to clean their room, think about it and make sure you can write it down in one clear sentence. Get clear about what you want in one clear sentence. That's step 1. Step 2, create a good atmosphere. Make sure you and the person you're asking both have the time to hear your ask. By inviting the other person to sit down and talk with you, it tells them you have something to ask them and that it's important to you. Create a good atmosphere. Make sure you and the person you're asking both have time. So when you're walking down the hall in the office, you don't ask your boss for a raise. Clearly, that's not a good time for him. Hey, I have something important I want to talk with you about. Can I set aside 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour? What works for you? That's creating a good atmosphere. So that's number 2. Number 3, simply state what you want. Don't preface your statement with a lot of disclaimers. They can make the other person feel something other than neutral. Just ask politely for what you want. Sometimes I literally read what I want, that first piece that I wrote down. I read it off the paper. I bring it with me and I read it. It's a way of helping me be clear and to stay on target, but it also lets them see how much it means to me. When your emotion, your commitment to what you want is there, now you've got an active listener. Remember, you're going directly to the person who can give you what you want, and you're creating a good atmosphere, and then you're simply stating what you want. You don't lead with a lot of disclaimers like, well, maybe if, no. I want, finish your sentence. Let them see how much it means to you. That's number 3. Number 4, be prepared to accept a no. If you can't accept a no answer, then you're making a demand, not a request. So get clear on that in advance. If no is really not an answer, and they have to say yes, then that's a demand. That's a different set of negotiations. So be prepared to accept a no. You're making a request, not a demand. And the last one is so important. This one is listen politely to the other person's answer. Listen to what they say. Whether the other person says yes, no, or something in between, listen carefully to what they say. Skip any talking in your head. Just listen. You need to know what their answer is. If you thought through all 3 possible outcomes, yes, no, and maybe, you can be prepared in advance with follow-up questions. If they say yes, I'm going to say when, how much, okay, what are the next steps? If they say no, let's talk about a plan B. Tell me why. You've got these answers, these questions to ask, so you can get additional information. Follow-up questions. When I follow these 5 steps, I'm successful more often than not. And when I'm not successful, I have a backup plan. Unfortunately, not every want is granted right away. So don't give up too quickly. Just because you've gotten 1 or 10 or even 100 no's, it doesn't mean you should move on. Consider trying a new approach. If the front door is closed, try the back door. Is the window open? What about the garage? Have another go at it. One of my most favorite asks of all times that I use as an example often was 52 touches to get into a meeting with Apple. 52 touches. Now that happened over a course of 18 months, but talk about having to come up with something each time you go back. How am I going to get this person to live with me, to meet with me, to move this to a meeting? 52 touches. I never got a no. So I kept moving on. I kept trying the window, the garage, the back door, the front door, the other window, other people. I ended up sending a proposal in to Tim Cook. And I CC'd on the cover letter 6 other department heads. So all the other 6 department heads said, oh, this was sent to Tim Cook. I better read it. And Tim Cook said, oh, they're going to all these other people? What is this? Tim Cook walked that proposal over to the right department head who wasn't listed and said, don't they have the solution that you're looking for? And they called me and scheduled that appointment for my client. Thank you. 52 touches is now my favorite story. Success isn't a result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. And asking for what you want is one of those ways. How to ask for what you want and get it just means being prepared. Know what you want, know what you don't want, and become a better asker by getting clear about what you want, creating a good atmosphere, simply stating what you want, being prepared to accept a no and having questions if it's a yes, maybe, or otherwise, and listening politely to the other person's answer. This will increase your close ratio. This will increase your success in asking for what you want. And remember, success isn't a result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. I almost didn't use that quote because I don't want to have people be thinking about setting themselves on fire, but I think we understand the nature behind it. So I'm going to leave it in there. It's on my postcards. It's part of my branding. I love that Glasgow quote. So there you have it. How to ask for what you want and get it. Tune in next month for another topic of another round of Ask Me Anything.